why did sort of grad studies decide that they need this application? Well, first of all, for OASIS, all the departments have their own system. Most of them are paper-based. There was a few automated systems. And so what would happen is students would send their documents either by mail, fax it, or just bring it to the departments. And the department staff would have to make all these copies, pass them around to the faculty so that they can review them and make their decision. And then they would box all of these documents up and then bring them over to DGS. And like I said, we had 3 campuses. So some of the ones that weren't in Burnaby had to drive up these boxes of documents. And DGS would have to go through the documents again, make sure the application was complete, and then make their final decision. So with all these documents roaming around, there's a lot of security issues, and with paper documents, there's lots of fraud going on, or possible. And there wasn't really much document tracking. And for the few automated systems that we had in the university, they didn't follow IT services best practices, so that was also an issue. Oh, sorry. So grad studies decided, okay, we need an application. So OASIS was created to standardize all these processes, act as a document repository. They want to reduce the time for submission processing and also improve the applicant's experience. Okay, so OASIS has several users. First of all, the applicants, they use the system to complete their application. They would upload their resumes, research papers, portfolios, etc., or they could fill out a web form if that's the process that the department's decided on. Also, their references, the system creates logins for references, and these references would upload the references or fill out a web form as well. And then there's the faculty adjudicators who access the system to review the applications and make their decisions. They also use the system as a collaboration tool with other faculty and use the system to make their final decision. Then we have departmental staff who access the system, and they act as a system admin to OASIS for their department. And what they would do is assist the users if they needed help with uploading. They actually create the web forms or designed web forms and configure them. And DGS grad studies, they also uses the system similarly to the departmental staff, except they have access to all the departments. So since DGS decided that they needed the system, they had a decision to make, and that's whether to build the system in-house or outsource the development. So there's some criteria that had to be met. First of all, timeline. DGS wanted the system to go live for their summer 2013 admission process. And they also had very specific requirements. Every department, like I said, they have their own process. So the system had to be very flexible and customizable, had to have the SFU look and feel. I'm going to read this off. The system had to be a database for grad apps, had to be integrated with SIMS, had to be user-friendly, intuitive, accessible around the world, act as a collaboration tool, document repository, and had to be secured with different levels of access. Also, they required long-term support, and they want the option to add features moving forward. And finally, well, they didn't want to rely on a vendor, so obviously they decided to build a solution in-house, and that's also why Steve and I are presenting and not a vendor. So after deciding to build the system in-house, we need to create a team, and the team consisted of a project manager, a technical team lead, 1.5 full-time employee FTE business analyst, 4.5 developers, 3 which were from our group, and 1.5 from SIMS, and a co-op student who helped us a lot with documentation and testing. So this project team, we all sat in this one room for roughly a year. It was also a windowless room. I wonder why. They really wanted us to work. And yeah, so we basically sat there for like the full year and to finish this project. And so this is our project plan. So yes, as you can see, the project started around November 2011. All the analysis and design was done the first 3-4 months, and OASIS development didn't really start till February 2012 and lasted about 7 months. The interesting part here is this corner here. It says PeopleSoft freeze. So as I said before, the timeline was very tight, and that was actually for 2 reasons. The first one was that they wanted to go live for their summer 2013 admission process. Secondly, this PeopleSoft freeze here, and what this means was that our student information system, they were actually going through an upgrade in 2013, and they didn't want any more code changes. And so we basically had to finish our development, at least for the Sims part of it, before this freeze happened. And then the last few months were just about testing implementation and just going live. So that's my part. And so we have our prize here. The first question is, do you guys know what Sims is? Not the Sims people. That doesn't work for Sims. Oh,
we've got it.
What? Yeah, that's right.
Oh. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. I get these back. Okay, so when developing OASIS, there's a number of constraints that we had to stick to. The first is that we couldn't store the Sims data in the OASIS database. Now, as Betty mentioned, that Sims is the student information management system. That's where we house all the student information. But OASIS is a massive application. And long story short, we just couldn't do the work in the Sims database. A lot of that had to do with the Sims freeze and the size of the application. So we needed a separate database. We couldn't store the Sims data in the OASIS database over concerns about data ownership, redundancy, and accuracy. Data also had to be real-time. So as a web application, OASIS was expected to be used and is actually being used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by applicants all over the world. So as a web application in this world of Facebook and Twitter, where we have instant gratification, it seems like real-time data is an obvious requirement, but it's much harder to achieve when we've got 2 distinct databases managed by 2 distinct departments. There's also a wide audience with differing abilities. So we've got applicants, referees, department staff, and faculty all using OASIS, and they've got differing technical abilities. So the challenge for us was developing a system that was developing such a complex system that was simple enough for newbies to use, but sophisticated enough that we could take advantage of modern internet technologies. Also had to work on all the major browsers. And as Betty said, we had a go live date of October 1st, 2012, which gave us a 7-month development window. So some of the technologies that we used to develop OASIS included Sims, which is a PeopleSoft application by Oracle. The OASIS database is in Sybase by SAP. The the content management system, which is a Windows application, and the web UI was developed using Microsoft C# and .NET Framework. The web UI was built using HTML, HTML5, JavaScript, and jQuery. And the file repository was DocuShare by Xerox. Now, here's an overall look at the system architecture. As you can see at the bottom, we've got our 2 databases in DocuShare. That's our foundation. The content management system is a Windows application, and that talks directly to the OASIS database. And then we have the web application, which is stored on the web server, and it communicates with DocuShare and the 2 databases via web services. So the web server talks to the web services talk to the 2 databases and DocuShare. And then we have our users that access OASIS via the internet. Okay, so taking a closer look at the system architecture. This part is going to get a little bit technical, so if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me and I'll explain it further. So we've got our two databases, and we've got DocuShare. And we also have our web server, which hosts the web application. OASIS is made up of three subsystems. The first subsystem is the applicant upload subsystem. So applicants will go into the Student Information Management System, SIMS, to apply to grad studies. Their application is completed when they finish uploading all their supporting documents. So it could be a transcript, it may be an image file, could be audio file, or even a movie. These are uploaded to the web server for temporary storage. Now, departments may also require applicants to fill out a web form. So if they do, that data is sent to the OASIS database, and the files are transferred over to DocuShare for permanent storage. The second subsystem is the referee subsystem. So as part of the application process, applicants have to provide a list of references. At that point, OASIS will create user accounts and email them to the references. The referees will log into OASIS and upload the reference. It could be a PDF file, but it also could be a web form. That's determined by the department. Those are uploaded to the web server, and from there transferred either to the databases or the file server, or both. And the third subsystem is the adjudication subsystem. So faculty or staff will log into OASIS, and they're going to request to see a list of applications. So what we'll do is we get the data from the SIMS database and the OASIS database, and we get any supporting documents from the file server. We then merge the data from SIMS with OASIS, and then everything is returned back to the web server. And the web server creates a user-friendly web page, and that's sent back to the faculty or staff. So we put this all together, and that makes up OASIS. Okay, so we've got applicant upload subsystem, we've got the referee subsystem, and the adjudication subsystem. The end result of the applicant upload subsystem and the referee subsystem is basically just web forms. So I'm not going to go over the architecture of that. The real magic is in the adjudication subsystem. So we've got student information database, OASIS database, and they communicate with the web server through our web services. These web services were created using Windows Communication Foundation, or WCF. When when staff or faculty log into OASIS, they're going to say, I want to see a list of all applications that meet certain criteria. This request is sent to the web server. The web server will then forward this request to the web services. Now, because it's very data intensive, resource intensive to, sorry, let me start that over. Normally, what would happen is we would take that search criteria, send it to the database, have the database do all the work to filter the results. But because we've got two separate databases, we just ask SIMS to send us all the applicants by department and term, and we'll do all the filtering on our end. So SIMS and OASIS will take the data, merge it, and send it back to the web service. The web service will then convert that response to a form that the web server can understand. At that point, we take the data and store it in the web's memory or RAM. Now, the faculty or staff doesn't want to see all the applicants because, like I said, SIMS is going to give us all the applications by department and term. We do the filtering on our end. This is how we do it. We use Microsoft's link to SQL technology to filter the results and return a subset. This is where we see the greatest performance increase because we're storing all the applications on the web server's memory. We have direct, quick, and easy access to it. It also eliminates the need to constantly query the SIMS database for the data and merge the results. Sorry, I just got lost for a second. Data is also stored in RAM for 1 hour. So we achieve what we call virtual real time. It's not exactly real time, but it's pretty darn close. But we also have mechanisms in place to update the data if it ever changes. So that's sent back to the web server, and then the web server creates a user-friendly interface using HTML, HTML5, ASP.NET, and jQuery. So now I'm going to show you some screenshots of the application, but before I do that, I've got another prize here. Who knows the 3 subsystems of OASIS? Perfect, thank you. I'll let Betty pass that to you, and I'm going to have a drink of water. Okay, so as this gentleman just told us, the first subsystem is the applicant upload subsystem. So this is what applicants will see when they log into OASIS. It shows you a list of all the supporting documents that the department wants the user to upload, or it's a list of all the documents that the applicant can or must provide. One of the things that we tried to do with OASIS is make it as visual as possible, so it's easier, it's more user-friendly. So the first column, this shows you whether or not, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but it shows you whether or not the item is required. So we use a green Y or a red N. The Y means that it's required, red means that it's optional or not required. The second column from the right, we've got checkboxes or check marks to say whether or not the applicant has provided this document and whether or not we've received it. I should tell you that these are all samples. It's not real data. So we don't have any privacy concerns here. Actually, I'll go back here. So here's a list of all the items. Clicking on the items will take you to the upload page. This is all configured in the department management system. In this case, they just asking for files to be uploaded, but it could be a web form, so it could be text boxes or radio buttons or check boxes, drop-down box. The second subsystem is the referee subsystem. So OASIS will create accounts for the referees, they'll log in, and then they'll see the reference form. At the top of the page, that's the biographical information that the referees can confirm or change, and then the actual reference form is at the bottom. This is a very simple reference form. There's a text box here for referees to type in their reference or a PDF upload. This is all configured by the department in the department management system. So that's one of the powers of OASIS, is that it's very flexible. Departments manage their own content. We don't have to do anything for them. At the bottom, you'll notice there's a save button and a submit button. So save means that, if the referee is writing a long reference and, they want to take a break, they can save it, come back to it later. Submit means that they've completed their reference and it's ready to be reviewed. And then I'm going to show you some screenshots of the adjudication subsystem. So this is a sample of BD School of Business Adjudication View. So it's a quick overview of all the applications that they have. BD is a School of Business, so it's quite a large department, and they've got over 600 applications. So we provide a number of filters at the top of the page that they can sort the results. As I said, OASIS is highly configurable, very flexible. This view here, it's all configured in the department management system, so you can select which columns that you want displayed. You can decide the order in them, give them different names. Clicking on the column name will sort the results. Clicking it again, sort in reverse order. Again, part of the visual aspect of OASIS, we've got tags. There's 3 tags that are supported in OASIS. There's star, flag, sticky note. So if staff or faculty come in, they see an applicant, they think that this is really outstanding application, they may give them a star. Or if there's concerns about this applicant, maybe they might give them a flag. And another way we made OASIS very user-friendly is that you can change the data directly on this page. You don't have to go to a separate page and change it. You'll notice that the texts are in different colors. There's black here and blue here. Blue is a hyperlink, so you click on it, it'll change to a text box, type in whatever value you want, and then when you click away from it, we use Ajax to save it, so you don't have to wait for the page to reload. It changed automatically. And it updates the cache as well. So it's always up to date. Clicking on the name will bring you to the applicant profile page. So the profile page is a complete look at the application. It has all the information that was provided to us when the student applied. We've grouped similar data into tabs at the top of the page. So for example, we've got the profile tab, education, experience, research, etc. This is a profile tab, so it shows the application details, additional comments, biographical information, and contact information. The right-hand column is what we call our widgets column. So we've got two widgets. There's the vital stats widget and the sticky notes widget. So vital stats is, again, it's like all the other views. It's all configured in the department management system. Departments use the vital stats widget to have critical information that's always displayed. In this case, considering GPA or minimum English. Sticky notes, that's one of the tags that I talked about in the previous slide. We found that some of the departments are using the sticky notes as an internal messaging system. As I said, this is all fake data, but this is Betty's application, and Professor Plum here likes to cut a Betty's jib, and the nutty professor likes to cut a Betty's jib, and Professor Plum agrees. So this is a look at the Documents tab. As if you remember from the first screenshot that I showed you, that's the applicant upload subsystem. This shows a list of all the documents that the applicant can or must provide. Again, visual cues, the green Y's for required, the red N's for not required. We've separated these into received and not received. We've also given departments the ability to waive an item. So, and clicking on the document type will either open up the document, or it's going to, if it's a web form, it's going to show you a list of all the answers that they've provided. Here's a look at the References tab. So if you remember from the referee subsystem screenshot, when you save an application or save your reference, it's not complete, so we're not going to show it. Only when you submit it is it considered complete and ready for review. So it's going to show, so it'll show up here. You'll also notice at the top here, we've got little icons for expanding or collapsing the content. So if you have a smaller screen, you may want to shrink it so you hide some of that. Here's a look at the Review tab. So similar to the references, when a department or staff is reviewing an application, we're only going to show the ones that have been submitted that's considered complete and ready to be reviewed. We have the review form available directly on the profile page. This is because the profile page has, again, it's a complete look at the application. It has all the information that you need to make a decision about this applicant. By hovering over this Review tab, it's gonna show you the form. The form, like everything else, configured in the department management system, it's all determined by the department. In this case, the department's got 4 questions here. Like I said, you can choose from text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, drop-down lists, and the answers as well, configured in the department management system. So the department decides which answers are available to you. And like I said, save, submit. This is another example of a web form configured in the department management system. It's a recommendation form. This is a form used exclusively by grad studies, and it's to process applications that have been recommended for admittance. And again, text boxes, radio buttons, whatever. And finally, this is a look at the DGS View. So this is an administrative page by grad studies to help process applications. We've got the tags column here, and here's an example of a drop-down list, so you can change the information directly on the page. You don't have to refresh it or anything. So now I'm going to pass it back to Betty.
So OASIS has been live for about roughly 9 months now. Sorry, I'm having it upside down. And so we've collected some data since go live. We've had over 5,000 applications from over 5,000 applicants. So there's a few more applications than applicants, and that's just because an applicant can apply for more than one program. We've also had over 15,000 references and 27 documents uploaded, which is about 30 gigs of data. So this chart here, it shows some of the activity on our web server. Our web server's had over 3 million hits since we've gone live. It's about an average of 15,000 a day. We've had over 95,000 visitors, about 550 a day. And this is the daily visitor activity on our web server. So as you can see, since go live, kind of gradually increased in activity. And this is because we started with a soft go live. So we only had a few departments using the system when we first went live. And as the system got more stable, we added more departments. The little dip right here, that's just holiday season, so no one's really doing anything. This big like peak here, that's when applications are due. So all the students are rushing in and trying to get their applications in, and faculty are in the system reviewing, adjudicating. And then as the applications are complete, it kind of dwindles down again. So this data is from October 1st till April, the end of April. We suspect to see this kind of trend 3 times a year, and that's for the 3 application sessions that we have at SFU. And so this pie chart here, it's quite interesting for us. It shows all the browsers that our users use. And so most of our users use Firefox and Chrome, followed by Internet Explorer, Safari, and then a few other things, probably Opera. So this is interesting to us because we want to know what our users are using so that we can make sure that their application is fully tested on these browsers and that these are fully supported. Some of the user feedback that we've gotten. Overall, we've had overwhelming positive feedback from our users. Many of the departments, like I said before, they're paper-based, so they're pretty happy to get anything. But we did get comments from them saying how intuitive the application was, and it's just really easy to use. They didn't really need a lot of training. We were also really diligent in getting the departments to be there during the analysis and design phase, because of all of the different departments and their different processes. We really want to make sure that the departments were all happy and ready to move on to the system. So we held information sessions, training sessions, we sent out newsletters, we made sure there weren't any surprises when we went live. Even though a lot of the users said they didn't need the training, we made sure that training was mandatory before they were given access to the system. The grad secretaries, they really liked the system because it just reduced the amount of paperwork they had to deal with, and the students enjoy it because they can access their application data anywhere, anytime they wanted. And in general, I think people were pretty happy that what we produced in such a short period of time. Some of the lessons learned. So like I said, we really made sure that the community, like all the users, got a say when designing the application, and this really helped with the buy-in. Also, the physical proximity of our project team. We sat close together. There was a lot of new technologies, so it really helped that we could just turn around and like talk to the Sims developer and really understand what their issue is, and it really helps speed up development. And finally, if we had more time, and I guess all projects could use a little more time, we thought maybe we could have a bit more analysis and planning, because the development process was very agile. Also, there's a lot of new technology like the DocuShare services, the Sim services. We were hoping, I'm getting called off here. We're thinking that if we had more time, we could maybe prototype some of these technologies first, had a better proof of concept. They would alleviate a lot of stress on our developers who work really long hours to finish this. So, so now that we're live, and it's been a pretty successful project, what lies ahead for OASIS? We're still doing continuous development and enhancements. Now that we have this big code base and architecture in place, we plan on leveraging it and reusing it for other applications. Currently, we're working on a grad award system, and there's also talks for an undergrad admission system. And with all the tablets and mobile phones out there, we're going to definitely start supporting mobile platforms as well. And that's the end of our presentation. We have one more prize. It's a grand prize. Does anybody remember what OASIS stands for? Oh. Oh, okay, there you go.
That's okay.
Yay.
Here you get this fancy
Okay, sure. Do we start from top to the bottom? Or? Oh, okay. I don't know how much the overall project cost. This guy might know. This guy here?
So it's about a $500,000 project. We'll just go through these quickly. How did you guys?
I went from the top.
Yeah, did you guys work full time on this project for 7 months? Yes, we did. So there was 4.5 developers, full-time employees, 1.5 business analysts, team lead, and project manager. Is DGS asking for grad studies progress tracking? No, it's just application and adjudication. How is access to applications controlled by adjudicators? That's handled in the department management system. So we have our own security setup where departments can manage security and access to different departments. Other questions?
There's one more on the.
Oh, is it?
Wait till you scroll.
Oh, can you share it?
Can we use it?
I think you would have to.
There's a contact right here.
Maybe contact the grad studies
Grad studies.
and set up a meeting with them. Please, question? Yeah, that's right. So it's a one-way communication from SIMS to OASIS right now. So yeah, you're correct that applicants will apply through SIMS, and then SIMS sends the data to us. But we don't store that data. We have to ask for it.
So that's the web service piece.
That's the web service
Like
part.
a call as soon as the person.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll log into SIMS. SIMS handles all the authentication, and then we just provide a link to them to go to OASIS, and we'll authenticate them through that.
What is your?
Well, that I'm not so sure about. Our project team lead is sitting right here, so he's our backup.
We've had DocuShare in place for a number of years. Retained DocuShare specifically for this project, EMS. So we decided to leverage that as part of the OASIS.
Yeah.
Any kind of style question?
Nope, we give them the ability to ask any kind of questions that standard HTML supports. So drop-down list, checkboxes, radio buttons, text box, file uploads.
An intuitive, like.
That's right. Are there any other questions? Yes?
Do you remember if there was a particular part of the?
You know, everything was hard because we didn't really know the level of technical ability of our users, so it was really difficult. It was almost a guess and check sort of situation, but we've had a lot of experience with user interfaces, so we used our best judgment, and then we got a lot of feedback and saying, "Oh, can you change this? Can you change that?" So that's also how we designed the UI. But for the most part, I think it went really well, and like Betty said, we got a lot of feedback that says it was really intuitive, and they didn't really need any training at all to use it.